again. We're trying another stand mixer. I didn't intend on having 2 new stand mixers, but if you are here for the first time, let me recap. I have a KitchenAid 5-quart bowl lift mixer, and while I was cooking one day, the motor just completely went out and it stopped altogether. I think it overheated. It does still work a little bit, but I can't do anything as thick as like a thick dough, a pizza dough or anything without it burning out. So I needed another option for a mixer. And so I bought this one back here. I don't know if you can see it. Let me grab it. So I bought this one right here. I did a lot of research. I was specifically looking for the kind of motor that this one had, and off the top of my head, I can't remember if it was AC or DC, but it is the kind that the KitchenAids typically don't have. I wanted a very strong motor. I can't tell what kind of motor this one has, but I was looking for something a little bit more affordable, and you can hear the cat in the background, goodness. And so this one fit the bill. This one has a few really cool features, and then this one that was sent to me, I am trying out now for the second time. I did record my first reaction, unboxing it to the features, and then I did make a half batch of cookies in it, so that will be linked up here if you're interested in seeing that. For today, you need to check out the other attachments and see how good they do. So let's compare and contrast what we know so far about these mixers. So they each are tilt head mixers, so they tilt right up. The gray one's lift is on the back, and it's just really ergonomic, so just grab it and lift up. And then the blue one, you actually have to open it to put it down too, but it's on the side, which isn't as ergonomic, but it functions very well. And so I don't think that's a plus or minus for either of them. I think it's great. Now, if we're looking at just the looks of them, definitely the blue one is prettier. The gray one's not as pretty, but the gray one matches my kitchen. Does this matter? No. For turning them on and off, the gray one has the knob on the back. The blue one has it on the side. The blue one does not twist. It's buttons that you push like a touchscreen. And then the gray one, you just twist it. The gray one has a light, so as soon as you turn it on, a light shines into the bowl. The blue one does not have a light. And then I think the last thing is the timer, which both of them have a timer and both of them have automatic shut off. So that's fantastic. That is something that KitchenAid definitely doesn't have. And so I'm so happy that a lot of these stand mixers are having this option. Now, the big difference that I haven't talked about yet is the bowl size, which is something I'm really excited about for this blue one. And so this blue one has a 7-quart bowl, and this one, the gray one, has a 5.5-quart bowl. Now I had a 5, is it 5.5 or 5? It's 5 or 5.5. I had a 5-quart bowl on my bowl lift, which I still have it. I'll grab it out in just a little bit to show you. But I was looking, this one is the same size. I didn't want to spend a ton of money. So to get a new KitchenAid would have been like $400. Maybe I could get it for like $250 if I got the exact same kind again, but I was looking to try to go a little bit higher up in quality. This one here, the gray one, ranges, but it typically averages out about $175. And then the blue one, this one averages out somewhere between $135 and $150. These are both much more affordable options compared to KitchenAid. So I need to give this one a try though. We've only tried making cookies in it. I made a half batch of cookies, and I was actually really impressed that the half batch of cookies came out so well because this is such a big bowl. I thought that maybe doing a small batch would be hard for it, but it worked perfectly. I'm going to try making some pizza crust because that's what I made in the gray one first, and I want to try to compare apples to apples, but realistically it's a different kind of pizza crust. I'm going to be making a different recipe, so let's give that a try. I'm going to set this on just 1, I think, because I don't want it to fly everywhere. Gotta remember how to do it. There we go. I have let this sit for probably about 5-10 minutes. I'm gonna mix it again just to see if that helps with this dough being a little bit different than normal. All right, so as you can see, we have a few things going on. 1, my dough's a little bit sticky, but 2, the dough just came all the way up here, which is quite a bit of a mess. So that's not cool. This is so cool when it turns off. Here's the last test for this mixer. I want to see how it beats up these eggs with this whisk attachment. I only have 5 eggs in there plus some water, and so this isn't as much as I normally would mix, but I don't have more eggs. So I am just going to mix this much and we'll see how it goes. I think these eggs mix up just fine. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see any yolks, so that worked out perfectly. Yeah. I think it worked. Alrighty, we have concluded the tests of all 3 of these mixers, and they all have their ups and they all have their downs. So let's talk about how each of them function. So the very first test that I did was cookies. And so the blue one did really well. I did a half batch of cookies, and I was really interested to see if it could do a half batch, because I realized with both the KitchenAid and the gray one that the half batch was really hard to mix and I had to really help it along a lot. The blue one, I didn't find that at all. So if you are wanting one just to make cookies, like a full batch of cookies or a half batch of cookies, the blue one's the one that you want. The next thing I did was dough, and I did dough in all 3 of them. I always make a lot of dough at a time. Somewhere around 9 to 10 cups of flour is what I put in the dough. And so I thought this one would do the best because it has the biggest bowl. But something interesting is that it hangs down quite a bit. And so realistically, I couldn't even fit my standard double batch of dough in here. So this one was not a win for the big batch of dough. If you had a small batch of dough, it would be just fine. Now this one, the KitchenAid, this is of course the one that I've had for over 5 years. I've used this the most out of any of them. It worked great for dough for a while, and then all of a sudden it just stopped and it didn't like dough anymore and it would just get overheated. So this one, it's also the noisiest. Now this one over here is the gray one, and I would say this is my top pick for dough. It definitely keeps it cool. It has a little fan inside. The motor is strong. So this one is what you want if you have a stiffer dough or you have a lot of dough at once. The last thing that I tried is eggs, beating up eggs. And honestly, they all did fantastic with the eggs. There was nothing to say bad about any of them. They all worked perfectly fine. The last thing that I want to talk about here are the splatter shields. Now, the KitchenAid is the only one that didn't come with the splatter shield. You had to buy that separate. And this splatter shield doesn't actually cover all the way around. It only covers partially. So I'm assuming they want you to put it towards the back, but you could still have a bunch fly out. It leaves a ton of area uncovered. Now, the Zacme covers a lot more of the area, and then it doesn't have like a holder. This part comes in and out. That's a little bit cumbersome, but it does cover more, so you don't have as much of a splatter. And then my favorite for this is on the Parmedu, we have this splatter shield that suctions. Instead of sitting on the bowl, it actually attaches with these rubber type of deals to the top to give you complete coverage. And then you can seat it, just push it down, and it'll be exactly on the bowl. So the only place that anything can escape is right here where you can put your ingredients in, which you could easily just cover with your hands. So the splatter shield, the blue one, definitely has the best one. So a quick recap is if you're wanting to do small batches of cookies or even just cookies, you're not really wanting to do a bunch of dough and you're wanting to save a little bit of money, the blue one is the one for you. This is the Parmedu. If you're wanting to do a bunch of dough and pretty much everything, but maybe cookies you're okay with doing by hand or scraping down the sides, then the Zacme, the gray one, is for you. And then if you are really into all the attachments and fun and you really like the bowl lift style, then the KitchenAid is for you. But price tag wise, we've got the cheapest is the blue one, the next cheapest is the gray one, and then the KitchenAid is the most expensive. So I would definitely say out of all of these, if you're wanting to do all of the same things that I would do, I would choose the Zacme. And if you're just wanting a basic mixer to get you through, make some cookies, do a few things, you're not in the kitchen cooking all the time, I would definitely choose the Parmedu. And then realistically, I wouldn't choose the KitchenAid for anything because it's expensive and it doesn't last very long and it's really loud. Overall, that's my review of these 3 mixers. Let me know down below which one do you like best out of all of these. And do you have any of them? Do you have a KitchenAid? What do you think of your KitchenAid? I have a KitchenAid that has, this KitchenAid doesn't work all that great, and I have a friend who has a KitchenAid that is also dying, and so I think I'm done with KitchenAids unless I get like the professional one, but even still it's loud and it has like the orange cord and I don't like that. So for now, I'm sticking with the off brands. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here and you haven't yet, please subscribe. I'd love to see you. If you haven't yet watched the video where I compared the Zacmate to the KitchenAid, I will link it up here for you, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.